Okay, so let me introduce myself once again. My name is Mr. Joel. Welcome to my class. All right, and I have been teaching primary school students for the past 13 years. I've taught students from the really crazy ones to the really well-behaved ones, to ones who don't really like English but liked it after I taught them. Some things about me that I can share with you. Number one, I am Singaporean, but I don't live in Singapore. I actually live in Sydney, right? So I'm a Sydney sider. I'm in Australia, and I have a bit of a weird Australian accent, but don't worry, I can speak like a Singaporean as well. So no problem right there. Yushen is here. Welcome to the class. And might I note that Yushen is she's a very hardworking girl. I downloaded everyone's files and only Yushen completed her work on the reading area there. So I was like, oh, good job, Yushen. All right, so let's begin today's work. Now, just a friendly reminder to everyone, please go on to 88 Tuition website and complete your work. You're supposed to complete it before the lesson, not after the lesson, okay? Answer all the questions. You can type all the answers in the given spaces, and the correct answer will be shown to you immediately so you know whether you were wrong or you were right in the first place. Please refer to the vocabulary bank sheet to add in any phrases or words learned during the lesson as well. All right. So some house rules, I think all of you know this, and I think Miss Ross has gone through it with you as well. It's compulsory to turn on your video, all right? And if you would like to ask a question, answer a question or anything like that, or share some feedback, please use the chat function and chat with me. So I'm going to be a teacher from now on. Miss Ross has left 88 Tuition. And oh, Eldrick says he's from Teacher SG. You might know me then, Eldrick. I've been teaching for Teacher SG for a really long time. Have you seen me before? Nice. Okay. So someone has raised their hand. Who raised their hand? Oh, okay. Vincent. Yes, Vincent, you have a question for me. Okay,
I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, that's fine. All right. So a little bit more about me. I love, oh, I don't know, it's coming. Hold on. I love to play, or rather, I used to love to play Pokemon, and recently I didn't have a chance to play Pokemon anymore. But my students love the trading card game. You know, you can buy those Pokemon booster packs, right? But I think the latest set is not very good. Like the previous sets were better. It's so hard to open like anything good in the latest sets, like those full art, you know, full art foils, that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's something interesting about me. Okay. Yeah, if there's anything urgent, please raise your hand and let me know. All right. Hold on. So we have some students coming in now as well. We have Eleanor. Oh no, that's Raphael. Okay, welcome to the class, Raphael. Okay, welcome, welcome. Vincent is here, Eldrick. Okay, let me see who else is here. Yushin, Caleb. Yes, Caleb is here. I've taken all your attendance, I hope. Yes, I have. Okay, if you need to be excused, please inform me using the chat and return as soon as you can. All right, be mindful to be respectful to all students and teachers in the class. Let's begin. Okay, today we're learning three things: grammar MCQ, vocabulary MCQ, and grammar cloze. All right, let's have a look. We'll start with grammar MCQ. So I would like you to give me your answers, or rather what you think the correct answer is, in the chat group. All right, let me know. Shiloh. Oh, okay. Shiloh's given me the answer in the chat group. Good. How about the rest? Vincent's given me the answer. Good. What do the rest of you think? Okay, Aldrich has answered as well. So has Raphael and Shanice. All right, so I'm still missing a few of you. All right, Susa has answered as well. Okay, I think half of you got it correct. Half of you got it wrong. So let's have a look at this question in a more careful way, okay? First up, we have to understand that in the question, there's a time marker, right? We always call this time marker. So when is this action happening? So over here, the action is happening next week, right? So the action is happening next week. Okay, so since the action is happening next week, can we use past tense? No, we can't. We need to talk about the future because it hasn't happened yet. What's the best one to talk about the future? Right, over here we have the modal verb, will. So will is very common in talking about the future because you're saying that you will be doing something or something will happen in the future. So because of that, the correct answer is actually D over here. So those of you who picked D, you got it correct. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. Now, if we use will to talk about the future, remember, will is not just about the future. Okay, but in this case, it is the future tense. All right. In fact, it's not just the future tense. We call it the future continuous because of the ing here. Right. So this is actually the future continuous. So the future continuous tense. But how would we use something like would, right? So let's say would give or would be giving. Why can't we use would be giving? Her uncle would be giving a talk at our school next week. What's wrong with that? Can anyone tell me why we can't use would be giving? Okay, let's see who's here. Faish. Anyone? Okay, so when do we use would? Okay, just like will, right? Will and would are both modal verbs, right? Modal verbs, they actually help us to change tenses sometimes. Most of the time, they are expressing a possibility or how strongly you feel about something. Okay, so out of all the modal verbs, will and would are very strong, like it's at the top. And then we have must as well. That's very strong as well, which means you have a very strong responsibility or you're very sure something will happen. Then we use will and would. So if we talk about strength, I'm not sure whether you have seen this before. If you talk about strength of the modal verb, all right, the strongest, right, is over here. Let's say, the strongest over here. And then let's say the bottom one is the weakest one, the ones that are weaker. So if we talk about the strongest modal verbs, right, the strongest ones would be must and will. And of course, the past tense of will is would. So would be very strong as well. Then we have shall, and the past tense is should. And then we have can. And then we have may. Right, may is the weakest. May's past tense is might. Can's past tense is could. Shall's past tense is should. And then will's past tense is would. Must has no past tense. All right, take note of that. So if I say I must go to the toilet right now, what does it mean? It means I'm probably feeling very urgent, right? If you don't let me go to the toilet, something's going to happen to me. I'm going to poop in my pants or something, right? And if I say, right, like next week, I will buy myself an ice cream. You feel very strongly about it. So these are the very strong modal verbs. And look at the weakest one. The weakest is may or might. When you say may or might, right, it's kind of telling people like, oh, I'm not really sure whether I want to. I'm just, I'm not very sure kind of thing. So let's say, for example, one day I ask Shiloh, I say, Shiloh, do you want to go swimming later? And then Shiloh tells me, I'm might want to go, I might not. So it tells me that, oh, she's not really sure. Maybe she's waiting for the weather to turn better. Or maybe, she wants to see whether her friends will go with her or not. But if Shiloh says, I will go swimming later, it's like, oh, she's very, very, decided on going swimming, that kind of thing. All right, so there's a strength based on this. But it's not just how strong something, it's not just the strength of it, right? Like how sure you are that it will happen as well. It's also expressing a mood. So when you say would, all right, normally you're talking about a past possibility, something that did not happen, okay, something that didn't happen, basically. So have you ever heard this phrase before? If I had knew, I would have, that kind of thing, right? So if I had if I had known that, the first booster pack would be the best one, I wouldn't have bought the entire box of boosters, that kind of thing. If I had known, right? I would, see, we use would. It's in the past, but it didn't happen, right? I would have, but it didn't happen. Okay, so over here, we can't say would give or would be giving unless you're talking about a possibility that is happening in the past, basically. But if you say would be giving, right? The key difference between would be giving over here, hold on. Okay, so the main difference between would be giving and will be giving is just the word would, right? But when we talk about would, we are kind of like saying it's a possibility. But when we talk about will, we're kind of saying like it's a certainty kind of thing. So over here, all right, D is the correct answer. Moving on. What do you think for this one? Question 2, Shiloh has already answered. I'll circle a very important word for you to take note of. That word is very important. Yushin has answered. Eldrick has answered. Srisa, Vincent, very good. Vincent says he's in a special gang. A gang that believes in one choice only. No matter what the MCQ is, that's always the choice gang, maybe. Anyone else? Any other ideas? What do you think the correct answer here should be? Caleb, Shanice, Vaishnavi, Rudru. Okay, Raphael has answered. Good, good, good. Okay, Yushin, yes, only for this MCQ, okay. Not sure? All right, type your answers in the chat group and then we'll see whether you got it correct or not. I think the first 2 students and Vincent got it correct. Yeah. So over here, another important thing that we need to look for, right, is the verb. What's the main verb here? Okay. So the main verb here is actually believe, right? But here's the trick. People believe that. So the moment we have that, right, whatever that is over here, it's in a different tense. It can be whatever tense you want. People believe that, and then you can talk about something in the past, you can talk about something present, you can talk about something in the future as well. Anything after the word that or after the word which, right, or your other kinds of like who or whom, you can change the tense after that. But this is the main verb. So some of you might actually, due to the looking at the word believe, right, you're like, oh, it must be a present tense. And then because there's a word when, right? When means two actions happening at the same time, right? 2 things happening at the same time. So therefore, we must use is having. But that's actually wrong.